So today we're going to be talking about food cost anxiety. And y'all, the picture I showed of the $5 lettuce, that was for real. And it's not Whole Foods. It's not a fancy schmancy grocery store. That was at Super Save, a discount grocery store. $5 lettuce. And you know, I'm standing there thinking, and all of us do this, no matter how much money you have. When you see something like that and you experience that sticker shock all of a sudden and you think, oh my God, do I really need lettuce this week? What if I get lettuce and I only use a little bit and it dies in my fridge, as often happens with lettuce? How am I going to feel about that? Oh my gosh, $5 lettuce. And this is just basic leaf lettuce, nothing fancy. All of us have been experiencing that lately, and it has just gotten to a fever pitch. So today I thought it would be really productive for me to talk to you about that for a little bit and talk about the whys and wherefores of that and give you a list of specific things that retailers, food retailers, have come out and said these items are going to be escalating in price this fall through the spring. These things are going to be in short supply. I'm going to give you a little list of 10 to 11 items, and then we're going to talk about a plan. The only thing that helps anxiety of any kind is to have a plan. There's nothing any of us can do about rising prices. We just have to figure out how to deal with it. And when you have a plan, you can do that much more effectively. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I've been doing. One of the things I have been doing has been changing my shopping habits. Normally I don't drive to Walmart. I have to drive over a mountain pass. It's kind of a pain in the butt. There's construction. We have a little grocery store here in the town I live in and $2 stores. So I don't go over that pass unless I have to. Well, with the escalation in food prices, it has gotten dramatic. And this is what I saw not long ago. I went to Walmart, got everything I needed. I was planning to have some sandwiches this last week. And I thought, well, I'll get lunch meat, I'll get bread, I'll do everything as economically as I can, which I did. And I get back home. Well, I realized when I got back home, I forgot the mayo. And y'all, I am kind of a mayo snob. I don't like Miracle Whip. I don't like that stuff. I'll either get Duke's or Hellmann's, and usually Duke's isn't available where I live, but often Hellmann's is. Well, at Walmart, it's about $4.50. I'll put the price up on the screen. That's what it is at Walmart, but I forgot it. Over the pass. I don't want to go back over the pass. So I thought, well, I'm just going to run down to my little local grocery store and get the same thing. The little 20-ounce squirt bottle of Hellmann's, not a big deal. Till I get there. Y'all, they're wanting $9 for 20 ounces of mayonnaise. $9. And of course, my first thought is, oh, no way. There is no mayonnaise on this earth that is worth $9 for 20 ounces. Sorry. There's just not, right? That is double what it costs at Walmart. So I thought, okay, no problem. I'll go to the dollar stores and check that out. One dollar store doesn't carry it very often. The other one almost always has it. Dollar General. So I go over there. They're out. Now granted, Dollar General has $5 mayonnaise Hellmann's most of the time. But there's times they're completely sold out. And as time is going along, more and more stores are having that issue. Even Walmart. You'll go to buy eggs. They have no eggs. You'll go to buy bacon. They have no bacon. And it varies. You never know what they're going to have and what they're not going to have. Well, this day, I'd already bought the stuff for the week to do my sandwiches. And I didn't want that to go to waste at all. So I went back to the grocery store. And yes, y'all, I paid $9 for mayonnaise. There's just something about that that just causes extreme anxiety when you go to the store and you don't know what to expect. You don't know how big the prices are going to be. You don't know if they're going to have the products you want. And you've got to figure out what to do about it. So, of course, yes, I paid the $9. Of course, now every time I make a sandwich with that mayonnaise, I think, the sandwich better be good. It's $9 mayo. It better be good. Oh my God. But that's what brought this idea for this video on. I'm like, okay, retailers this last week have come out and said, these are big retailers, grocery store retailers, there are going to be shortages of some items. and there is going to be tremendous escalation in price of certain items. And so I put together a list of what those items are going to be. And because it's fall, we're going to be going into the holiday season when people do a lot of cooking, a lot of baking. Now, I will say also, I saw this article yesterday. And this article is talking about how 25% of Americans are cutting out or cutting down on their Thanksgiving. They're either cutting it out completely or most likely cutting down what they're doing. They're not having the big blowouts where they have all kinds of food. They're having to pick and choose, and that is due to cost. It has gotten so expensive and a lot of things aren't available. So people are having to really pick and choose. In America, that's a big deal. Thanksgiving is one of our biggest, if not the biggest, food holidays. And that is huge when you think about 25% of people either cutting it out or cutting back. And by the way, over on my other channel, Cooking for One, I'm going to be doing a series of Thanksgiving for One. And the main idea of this series is to understand you can cook for 1 or 2 people, because all of my recipes go for at least 2 servings. And you can do so economically and quickly. And Thanksgiving's really tough if you're one person. So go, if you haven't gone over to that channel, there's a link below. You can hop over there and subscribe. You'll get to see the whole series. I'll be doing several different videos on sides, on desserts, on turkey. So you will get to see all of it. So let's talk about some of the items that retailers have specifically talked about that may affect your holiday. The first one is eggs. And I'm sure you've noticed, eggs have gotten ridiculous. The price of eggs this last year, year and a half, have doubled, more than doubled in some cases. And there's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, avian flu was pretty rampant in the United States. So a lot of chickens were culled to stop the spread of avian flu. And the chickens that were culled were not only chickens that lay eggs regularly, but also chickens that produce more chicks to lay eggs. And it takes about 6 months to get a chick to laying age, sometimes longer. So it's not a quick process to replace those birds. And here again, the birds they would normally use to replace them got culled too. On top of the lack of birds to begin with, there was a tremendous escalation and continues to be an escalation in animal feed, in the grains and the feed that they use to feed those chickens and other farm animals. And so the costs have risen tremendously. There are fewer and fewer chickens. Eggs are going to continue to rise. And in a lot of places, especially as we get into the holidays, you're going to find shortages of eggs. The increase in animal food prices also affects things like butter and dairy. I'm sure you have noticed those prices escalating too. Now, the next thing that's going to be affected, especially for Thanksgiving, is turkey. This year, again, due to the avian flu, more than 5 million turkeys were culled. So we've got fewer turkeys to begin with. In addition to that, here again, the feed to get those turkeys to market age really went up as well. So turkeys are going to be more expensive and there's going to be less of them. Here again, it's going to cause the price to go up. The next thing is pet food, y'all. Pet food has escalated so much. You all that have pets know this, especially if you're feeding them wet food that's canned. There's an aluminum shortage. They can't get the cans. And you've seen a lot of manufacturers go to plastic containers or pouches, which is a good thing in my opinion. But it takes time to do that. They can't get the aluminum for the cans, and the ingredients again have gone up. That's going to continue to escalate. And one of the main products that people are really going to notice, and we've been hearing this for months, is flour. Because of the big drought in the U.S., that was a huge issue. And of course, the conflict in the Ukraine and Russia. Russia is one of the biggest exporters of wheat. They export 30% of the world's wheat. That's a lot. And they're not exporting like that right now. So there is going to be a lot of flour shortage, wheat shortage. And so when you're looking for flours, especially specialty flours like bread flour, cake flour, the things you tend to use during the holidays, you may have trouble finding it, or you may find the prices really escalated. The next thing, and this one kind of surprised me, but when you think about it, it makes sense, is chickpeas. A lot of us love hummus. We do that for dips, for parties, for Christmas events, for holiday events. Well, chickpeas are going to be hard to find and more expensive. And part of that reason is one of the biggest producers of chickpeas is Russia and the Ukraine. Well, because of the conflict there, they're not exporting near what they normally do. So there will be a shortage of those as well. Now let's talk about corn. This year in the United States, the corn harvest was dismal. We were in a major drought all across the U.S. Europe was in a major drought all across Europe. And so corn harvest in the U.S. was very low comparatively. This is going to affect us in the fall because all through the summer and while this drought was going on, we were actually, the products we were buying in the stores were made with last year's corn. Well, now, as we're getting into fall, that product has been used up, and so what's going to be available is what is being made with this year's corn, which is much lower. So you're going to see an escalation in everything that is made with corn. Tortilla chips, we've already seen that price increase. They've gotten ridiculous about how expensive chips are. But chips, anything that has to do with tortillas, tacos, anything like that is going to go up. And of course, corn oil and vegetable oil. This includes both. The drought affects both. You're going to really see an escalation. That was one of the things the retailers noted. They expect to go up another 63%. And during the holidays, when you're baking, when you're doing things, you tend to use more of that. And by the way, if you think, oh, well, I'll just switch over to olive oil. Spain and Italy experienced one of the worst droughts ever. Their olive harvest was down 30%. The same is true in California, which was also in drought, and their olives are down tremendously as well. So olive oil is going to be in short supply. This is going to affect every kind of oil made out of any kind of vegetable. And you think, oh, well, I use coconut oil, not a big deal. Yeah, when people can't find one thing, what do? They switch over to another product they can substitute, like coconut oil. They will use what's available. And we saw this during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. When people couldn't find toilet paper, what did they do? They bought tissues, they bought paper towels, they bought anything they could substitute for that product. And the same is going to happen with oils, cooking oils. And the thing is, the shortage not only affects you, it affects restaurants. So it's really going to get tight with oils and various types of oils during the fall, and they're going to get expensive. Another thing the drought affected was tomato products and tomatoes. Anything made with tomatoes, and this is like ketchup, pasta sauces, salsa, anything like that you're used to using is going to be affected by the drought, and it's really going to hit this fall because the tomato harvest was so dismal during the summer. And other items that you really don't think about being affected by these things are things like soft drinks, beer, anything carbonated that is in a can. If it's carbonated and in a can, it's going to be affected. There has been a major CO2 shortage, and you need that CO2 to make anything carbonated. So it's been very difficult for suppliers to find the CO2 and get it due to supply chain issues, get it shipped. And they've had trouble getting the aluminum cans. So they've got a twofold problem. And that's really noticeable during the holidays when you're maybe buying soft drinks for parties, you're planning big events, that sort of thing. That's when you're going to see it. Now that we've talked about what's not going to be available, what do you do about it? Well, we can't do anything about prices. But I already talked a little bit about making a plan. And one of the main ways you do that is when you see it on sale this fall, stock up. Stock up for a few months. I'm only one person. It doesn't take that much to stock up on anything that's going to last me several months. And fall is a good time to stock up on lots of things like canned veggies, pie fillings, sugar, anything like that when it goes on sale. I know I am waiting on the sale on spices. I'm out of poultry seasoning right now. So that's one of the things that I always wait until fall or as close to Thanksgiving as possible to buy. Those things go on sale. I also now shop very selectively. I shop a lot more at the dollar stores. I compare prices a lot more. I really try to consolidate my shopping where I'm only shopping a couple of times a month, like at Walmart. I'm really trying to be very, very careful how I use my gas, my time, and also my money. I want to try and get the most for my money. And you may have the habit of like going to a dollar store, but you only go for certain things, maybe decorative items or cards or whatever. Look around those stores, and they're all different. They all have different pricing. But look at the things you don't normally buy, your pasta sauces, your condiments, eggs. Did you know the dollar store has eggs and dairy? Most people don't even realize that, but they do. And a lot of times they're way cheaper than you can get them elsewhere. And then you want to have a backup plan. What if you can't get vegetable oil? What are you going to do? What if you can't get eggs? What if you can't get butter? What are you going to substitute for those things? Have a plan. Be able to go without things. We've gotten so used to being able to get anything we want, anytime we want, that a lot of times we really don't think ahead to, okay, what if this isn't available? What if turkey isn't available for Thanksgiving? You can switch to a different meat. It doesn't change Thanksgiving. You just have to be flexible, and that's really, really important. So I hope these tips have helped you a little bit, and I hope that you will be thinking ahead and lowering your overall food cost anxiety by developing your own plan. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.